Hi YouTube, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, it's lovely to see you. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about yoga and how it is for everybody. And it's not exclusive for those people that are a certain size or a certain shape and that, wear certain branded leggings or all of the things. I'm really super passionate about yoga, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that there is a form of yoga, not even a style of yoga, but I'm going to get into that, the different styles and where they kind of come from. And I know a lot of people get confused about all the different styles and trends that and different streams and brands of yoga that have kind of sprouted through the years. Oftentimes people will say to me, like, what style of yoga do you teach? And I'm like, it's just hatha yoga. It's like, oh yeah, I've tried hatha yoga before. And, now I do such a yoga. And it always makes me smile because yoga back in the day when it was first, devised, invented, whatever you want to call it, thousands of years ago, didn't have different names and different strands and all the rest of it. It was just yoga. There are different parts to yoga. There are different postures, or asanas as we call them. So there are different shapes we can make with our body, basically. There is lots of different breathing techniques we can do for different reasons. We might pick and choose a certain breath technique. There are obviously lots of ways in which we can meditate. There are lots of spiritual texts that we can use to help us in our journey towards the state of yoga, which is what it's all about, which is really about managing this. It's not about, getting super toned and looking a certain way, which is what, a shame really, but that's what a lot of people in the West have taken yoga to be. There's lots of trendy yoga studios popped up everywhere where, it seems to be the goal of yoga is to look like a certain way or to achieve a certain posture. Now, it's good to have goals and aspirations, and, that's all great because it might serve as motivation. But I think, unfortunately, what that can do is sometimes leave a lot of people out and leave a lot of people behind who think yoga is not for them. And if you have a certain condition or, a health condition or an injury or, you're a certain size or shape, and I speak to a lot of people who maybe have said, oh, I went to a yoga class, and not only did they feel it wasn't for them because they weren't integrated into the class, because it is very difficult for a teacher to integrate people with different needs, and I'll speak to that in a minute. But sometimes even worse than that, they can leave feeling like even traumatized, even really, really kind of having a bad experience because they were made to feel like they weren't welcome, or that they were not able to, do basically much of the class at all. Even perhaps if they were brave enough to leave the class, but oftentimes people are not, so kind of stick it out and just never go back again. And it really, really saddens me to hear that. So even if you are, housebound, you're stuck in your house, you have a condition that means you're not able to really get out and about, or you can get out and about, but you can't get up and down to the floor that easily. Yes, it may be true that a lot of general public yoga classes are not going to be suitable because you will, not be catered for in many cases, sadly. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a yoga that you can do, or that there aren't yoga tools and techniques that you can practice. It's just not that easy to access the information, right? So I'm here to just speak to that and to give you a few ideas and tips, and just to mention a few things about how I work and how I integrate different people with different needs into my classes. So I want to talk a little bit about this guy. So this is a book by Desikachar Char, and his father was a yoga teacher called Krishnamacharya. Okay, so back in India, Krishnamacharya is considered the father of modern yoga. And what he did was he revolutionized the way that yoga was taught. He introduced it to the West, really. He introduced it to a lot of different people around the world. But he really, really wanted to make sure that yoga was tailored to the individual's needs, not a one size fits all. So you could say he was really the father of yoga therapy, because yoga therapy helps us to look at the individual and say, okay, what are their needs? And where are they out of balance, physically or mentally or both? And how can we use the tools that we have in our yoga toolkit to help and support their health and well-being and bring that person back into balance? So I've got some notes here from this book. And Desikachar, which is his son, says, yoga is not just a physical practice, right? It is a healing modality, and it should be for everyone. He says illness blocks the path to spiritual enlightenment, which is why you have to do something about it, okay? Krishnamacharya's teaching was unique because he insisted on tending to individuals and their uniqueness, starting from where the person is. It's never about the teacher's needs, always about the student's needs. And this means that it requires many different approaches. So Krishnamacharya taught different students, and obviously because he did not teach this is my yoga and everyone must follow it, he looked at their needs and he taught them rather than just giving them one size fits all. So what that means is that from him, from this one teacher, came students with very, very different needs. And from there, we had different teaching styles and modalities were born, because you had the likes of Sri K. Pattabhi Jois, who is the Ashtanga, the father of Ashtanga. Ashtanga yoga is very strong. It's fast. It's flowing. It requires a lot of strength. The Ashtangis will do like handstands and really strong postures and using their arms to hold their whole body weight and bring their body through, swing their legs through. It's so super difficult that it is not suitable for many people. And sometimes, you know, if people think they can achieve these postures and they're not quite ready for it with their body and their strength, unfortunately, often people can become injured. But the style of yoga that he taught to Sri K. Pattabhi Jois, which was this system of Ashtanga yoga postures, was perfect for him because he was a young Indian man, very, very young, very strong and supple, and his mind was all over the place. So he needed this strong, disciplined practice, which is what you would teach to a teenage boy, basically, who needed, very, very good, strong postures to keep him coming back to the mat, keep him motivated, because once he'd achieved these postures, Krishnamacharya would give him another level and another level and another level. So it would really keep him motivated and engaged. So perfect for him, but maybe not perfect for many other people. Okay. So also he taught yoga to, I think it was his brother-in-law, Mr. Iyengar. And Mr. Iyengar had a lot of illness as a child. He had polio, he had problems with his body and his hips, and he needed lots of alignment, very, very strict alignment. He needed precision and he needed lots of props, the use of yoga blocks and belts and maybe a chair to help him to get into these postures. And he obviously loved all of that. For him, it was wonderful. And he then went on to create the Iyengar tradition. And so there are lots of students of this one teacher who went on to create very, very successful styles of yoga and lineages in their own right. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that there are yoga postures, and the way that we can then teach them to people is important, because the speed of them, the repetition, the either gentleness or strength of the postures and the way that they're put together it's really more about giving the person what they need, rather than saying this style of yoga is correct because, and everybody should come and do it, because it definitely doesn't suit everyone. So this is why when people ask me what style of yoga I teach, and it's kind of like, oh, it's hatha, people get a bit confused. So Jessica Charles says there is not just one approach for everybody. The way yoga is taught nowadays gives the impression that there is one solution to everyone's problems and one treatment for every illness, and it's just not true. So we have, as yoga teachers and yoga therapists, many tools available to us to draw from. And that is not just even physical movement and postures. Yes, movement of the body is very important, because even if you are someone, like I said, that is not able to get up out of bed, you're not able to leave your house, you maybe need to sit in a chair to do your postures, or you're in a general yoga class, but you're okay for most of it, but you're not able to lie down on your back, or maybe you're pregnant, or all of these different things. Maybe you've got a heart problem, a breathing problem, whatever it might be. There is still a lot that you can do. So anyone that is able to breathe, for example, can do yoga. So there is so much rich, beautiful yoga teachings that we can do in using breath work. There is movement that you can do moving with breath. So it might be, oftentimes I will give people just simple open the palms, breathe in, expand your ribcage and your chest, breathe in through the nose, and then breathe out, bringing the palms down and rounding the shoulders a little bit, and finding this movement as you breathe out through the nose or the mouth. Breathing in, expand. And even just simple movements like that, we can do gentle twists, we can do neck movements, shoulder movements. There's so much beautiful movement. There's always something that you can do, even if you're not mobile enough to get up and down to get to class. There is something you can do which would be hugely beneficial. Then we've got, obviously, meditation. We can pull from the pool of meditation, and there are many ways that we can meditate. So if you've tried meditation before and you think, well, I can't meditate because I'm no good at it, my brain just won't shut up, it keeps thinking, that is absolutely fine. That is what happens to our brain. It's up to us in meditation to just watch that process, to find that space that we can observe what's happening in our minds. And that is meditation. So there's all of these myths about, well, I have to make sure that my mind is still and quiet, otherwise I'm not meditating. And it's just not true. We can use sound, chanting, mantra. We can combine sound and chanting with a mantra. So we can create some powerful affirmations. Chanting, humming, making sound, singing is wonderful to tone the vagal nerve, which is the longest nerve in the body. And there's proven scientific evidence now to show that this vagal nerve is very intrinsic into our health and well-being, because its job is to pick up and feed back to the brain all of this feedback that it's pulling from the stomach, the respiratory system, the hormones. It kind of is very intelligent. And so if we can just do some simple chanting, we can send that message back to the brain that we feel okay, we're not in a threat situation, and we can calm our nervous system just by some of these simple tools. We also have yoga philosophy. So for some people, you might not ever need to do much physical yoga, but you might get so much benefit from some of the teachings of the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the Upanishads. There are so many beautiful teachings that we can study that help us to become better people, more rounded, lots of understanding about how our own limiting beliefs and our samskaras, which are our habits, that we just get stuck in these cycles over and over again. So we can create peace and more joy and more bliss from wherever we are. Even teachers can go into prisons and fundamentally change the mindset of those people, that instead of feeling trapped and like their life is just no good and they're on hold, they can change their mindset around it and use that time to their advantage to, from in your mind, you're free to go wherever you want to. No one can ever take away the power of your mind and your power to have an effect on yourself, on your experience in this moment, by just closing your eyes and going within. So there's so much beautiful, beautiful teachings that we can use. There are other spiritual teachers that I draw from, such as Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Michael Singer. There's so many wonderful teachers that I listen to daily for my personal inspiration and pass on their teachings to my students and clients. So Jessica Char also said, if we are to become complete human beings, we must incorporate all aspects of human life, including our relationships with others, our behavior, our health, our breathing, and our meditation path. So yoga and yoga therapy looks at the whole person. The yoga therapy training that I am going through at the moment, which is amazing, it's wonderful. We have a map, we have domains where we look at habits that people have in their life that they're kind of maybe leading people into imbalances. The ways that people are eating, their nutrition, how are they breathing? Are they even aware of their breathing? How is someone's physical body? How's their movement? Is there something that we can do there to help to bring someone back into more balance and into a more state of well-being and health? How are their relationships? Are they finding relationships difficult? Family, friends, all of that. So we can look at all of these different domains, of which there are 10. And as yoga therapists and yoga teachers, we can help people to just make small little steps, small tweaks, using these tools, using this ancient wisdom. And it's absolutely amazing. It's life-changing, it's transformational, and it can be such a beautiful support to whatever else it is that you're doing to help with your health and wellness. So if you have a condition, obviously something that's going on with your heart, or something that's going on with your immune system, or fibromyalgia, your nerve system, you will be going to the doctors, you will be getting probably advice and medication and scans and all of that, which is brilliant. And this helps alongside the Western medicine. And oftentimes, we find that in Western medicine, once we've tried certain things and medications, sometimes they just come to the end of the road and get a bit stuck, and there's not really anything else that can be done. And people get told, you just have to live with it, you just have to get on with it. So that's when we can really go towards a holistic spiritual path like yoga and get so much relief and so much support that you can use alongside other things that you're doing. If you're watching this, by the way, do drop me a little comment. I'm doing this live, so I just do it and then it's done, but I don't edit the videos or anything like that. So it would be beautiful to have a comment just to let me know whether you're learning something today about the path of yoga, whether you just thought yoga was, stretching, and whether you had to be a certain size or shape, and that this might be news to you. So it's my mission to really prove and educate people that yoga is an absolutely amazing, huge system, that there are so many wonderful things that you can use to help support your health and well-being. And, it might be that just going to a general class, you might have tried that in the past and you might think yoga's not for you, but please, please, please don't give up and keep looking for that teacher, that guide that suits you, that gets you, that understands where you're coming from. So, for example, I've got a lot of experience in teaching. So I've been teaching for almost 10 years next year. And the way that I did my training was with the British Wheel of Yoga. I studied for 3.5 years. And then from that, I have gone on to do lots of continuing professional development. So I've done yoga for athletes, which is helpful for bringing if certain people are golfers and they're kind of doing these swing movements all the time, they need certain different movements to help bring them into balance. Yoga to do with bad backs. I've also done trauma training, so to help me to be a better teacher, to understand. I believe everyone comes, with a certain element of trauma. It does not have to be one of the, ACE big events in your life. We all have suffered trauma to some extent. So it's worthwhile doing that kind of training and understanding that you need, as a teacher, to give people choice, to say to people, this is what I'm recommending we do right now, but you don't have to do that. If this doesn't suit your body and it doesn't feel good, it makes you kind of feel a little bit triggered, don't do it. Let me know, or do something else. Even something as simple as close your eyes. I will always say, close your eyes if it feels good, but if it doesn't, don't close your eyes, just drop your gaze. Because for some people in a new environment, in a class, closing their eyes can feel really, really, vulnerable. Giving people the opportunity to leave the room, even, if you feel like you need to get up, walk around, lie down, leave, whatever it is you need to do, you do you, because you must feel in control in that yoga class. So if you're ever in a class and you feel out of control, you feel like the teacher is like, do it this way, and actually even manhandling you into position, even worse, that's not okay. And you have got the right to say, this doesn't feel good for me, but not everyone's going to be brave enough to say that. And it's only kind of afterwards that you're going to think, oh, that didn't feel good. And I didn't really want to be pushed into that stretch, right? It didn't feel nice in my body. Oh, hi. Karen says, I've joined partway. I'll listen from the start. Yes, thank you. We're just wrapping up. So in my classes, for example, I have got on a Monday, I've got a lovely lady that is not able to get up and down from the floor. So she does her yoga in a chair. So that's really challenging for me as a teacher, to make sure that I have planned in my preparation for this lady, that I know that I can give her things to be doing whilst other people are doing something completely different, so that she feels seen, that she feels like she's having a lovely experience. I've got another lady in another class who is in the just in the second trimester of pregnancy. So again, she needs special adaptations because she's pregnant. So, yesterday, for example, I did, everyone did some pelvic floor work, because that doesn't hurt for everyone to do that, right? But I have her in mind to say, right, we're going to really use our breath now. As we're doing cat-cow, we're going to breathe in and feel that pelvic floor expand. And then as we breathe out, we're going to work on drawing it in a little bit, because I know that's going to really help her to build that tone in the pelvic floor. But it's also good for, it's great for ladies in midlife. It's great for everyone, right? I've got a lady on a Tuesday who has a lot of nerve pain going on. People who might have fibromyalgia, who have a lot of stress. So I'm careful to build things in that I know is going to really help to calm the nervous system. And after class, I'll say to her, how have you been this week? And I'll give her some really nice, useful tips, maybe to make sure she takes care of herself, maybe have some nice warm baths. I've advised her to use some nice oil to warm up the oils and do a bit of self-massage, just to really help that nervous system to calm down. So it's not kind of just, yeah, see you next week. I really care about all of my students. On a Wednesday, I've got a new lady who is recovering from cancer, and she's not able to lie down either on her back or on her front. So again, in most yoga classes that are taught today, if you're going to walk into that class, because doctors and physios, which is great, they're telling everyone to go to yoga. They say, go to yoga, it'll be wonderful. But unfortunately, in a lot of classes, if you just walk into a general class, sometimes teachers are not geared up to cater for those individuals, and they can just kind of be left out. Okay, well, you missed this bit out then. But what I've done is really worked hard to make sure that I equip myself with the knowledge to be able to integrate them into class. So she came last week and just felt like she'd had such a beautiful experience at the end of class. She even cried because she said she'd just not felt that good and that relaxed for years. Because I really made sure that she felt included, and that she had a good experience in my class that, she could go away from and feel like she, absolutely had a yoga experience and wanted more of it. So I hope that this has been interesting. A whistle-stop tour through kind of the history of yoga that we did at the start, and just how yoga is such a wonderful tool, but it might not be that if you just rock up to any class that you're going to get that experience. And it really is important that you keep looking for the right teacher for you, and do not accept that yoga is this, and if you don't feel like it's suitable for you, then it's just not your yoga. That's all. It doesn't mean that yoga isn't for you. I absolutely love the teaching of yoga. I'm so grateful for what it has given to me, and I just hope that I can pass on, every day, if I can pass on a little bit to people, then it makes me super happy. So if you've enjoyed this live, if you're watching live or if you're watching on replay, do drop me a comment. I would love for you to subscribe to my little channel. Be wonderful if I could get my subscribers up a little bit. And drop me a comment, like and subscribe. And if you've enjoyed it, maybe share this video with a friend. And if I can be of any help, then please do get in touch, drop me a comment, and we can get in touch and chat about your needs. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now.